The sound of the police cruiser's sirens still rings in my ears as I stand in the rain, watching officers lead me away from my own front door in handcuffs. My neighbors peek through curtains. My boss sends a text. "Don't come in tomorrow." But worst of all is Emma's face, my wife of 8 years, standing in the doorway with our daughter Lily clutched to her side, a perfectly placed bruise beneath her eye that I know for certain I never gave her. "Daddy hurt Mommy," Lily says in a small voice that doesn't sound like her own. That's when I know. This isn't a misunderstanding. This is a calculated attack. My name is David Reynolds. Until yesterday, I was a project manager at Carson Engineering with a comfortable salary, a colonial-style home in a good school district, and what I believed was a happy family. Emma and I met at a friend's wedding 9 years ago. She was the maid of honor. I was a college friend of the groom. We danced 3 times that night, and I still remember how she looked under the string lights, blonde hair catching the glow, hazel eyes that crinkled when she laughed. Our courtship was a whirlwind. Within a year, we were married, and Emma was pregnant with Lily soon after. I worked overtime to afford the house Emma wanted, in the neighborhood she chose, with the yard she envisioned for our daughter. I coached Lily's soccer team on weekends, made pancakes every Sunday morning, and took Emma on date nights every other Friday like clockwork. The only thorn in our seemingly perfect life was Emma's mother, Margaret. A widow with a sharp tongue and sharper eyes, she never thought I was good enough for her daughter. "A man without family money isn't a provider, he's a paycheck," she once said within earshot at our wedding reception. I laughed it off for Emma's sake, but Margaret's disdain only grew with time. When Emma suggested we draw up wills after Lily was born, Margaret recommended Vincent Harlow, an old family friend and attorney. Vincent was slick in custom suits and always called me Sport or Chief instead of my name. He handled our wills, our mortgage refinance, even drew up contracts when I started my side business doing weekend renovation projects. I never liked him, but I trusted Emma's judgment. That was my first mistake. My second was believing that love was enough, that if I just worked hard enough, provided well enough, loved deep enough, Emma would see past her mother's influence. I was wrong. The woman I built my life around was plotting my destruction all along. Looking back, I can see the warning signs. 6 months ago, Emma started taking more phone calls in the bathroom with the shower running. She claimed it was girl talk with her friends. She began documenting household expenses obsessively, questioning purchases I made for my workshop. "Just budgeting," she'd say with a shrug when I asked. Then came the accidents. Emma with a sprained wrist after I was away on a business trip. A bruise on her shoulder that she flinched at when I approached, just as her mother dropped by unannounced. Margaret's eyes narrowed as she watched me, and I felt a chill run through me. "You seem stressed lately, David," Margaret commented one Sunday dinner at our home. "Lily mentioned you raised your voice last week. That's not like you." I hadn't raised my voice, not once. Yet Emma nodded along as if confirming this fiction. 3 weeks before my arrest, Emma suggested Lily start seeing a child psychologist. "Just for some anxiety," she explained vaguely. "Dr. Winters comes highly recommended by Vincent." The connection should have alarmed me, but I was too busy trying to secure a promotion at work. I agreed, wanting to support whatever Lily needed. Then Emma mentioned divorce casually over dishes one night. "My friend Stephanie's ex-husband got to keep their house and she only got weekend visitation," she said, watching my reaction carefully. "Isn't that strange? I thought mothers always got custody." "That is unusual," I replied, uneasy. "But every case is different." 2 days later, I discovered Emma had withdrawn $5,000 from our joint savings account. When confronted, she claimed she was planning a surprise vacation. I wanted to believe her. The evening before my arrest, I came home early to find Margaret and Emma at our kitchen table with paperwork spread out. They jumped when I entered, and Emma quickly shuffled the papers into a folder. "Just looking at summer camps for Lily," Emma said, but her smile didn't reach her eyes. That night, for the first time in our marriage, I couldn't sleep beside my wife. Something felt wrong, dangerously wrong. I moved to the guest room, telling Emma I didn't want to disturb her with my restlessness. In the morning, the police arrived. The holding cell at the county jail smelled of bleach and despair. I sat on a metal bench for 6 hours before Vincent Harlow, of all people, appeared to represent me. "Tough break, Chief," he said, not bothering to hide his smirk. "Emma's filed for an emergency protective order. You can't go within 500 feet of the house or contact Lily directly. Oh, and the company called. They're letting you go due to the, sensitive nature of the accusations." I stared at him. This man who had drafted my will, who had sat at my dinner table and accepted my hospitality. "You know I didn't do this," I said quietly. Vincent adjusted his gold cufflinks. "What I know is that Emma has photographs of her injuries dating back 6 months. What I know is that Lily told her therapist that Daddy hurts Mommy when he's angry. What I know is that the judge who will hear this case plays golf with me every Thursday." He leaned in, dropping his voice. "Give up now, Reynolds. Sign over the house, agree to supervised visitation, and pay the support agreement we'll draft. Otherwise, we'll destroy what's left of your reputation." Something inside me, something that had been bending for months, finally snapped. Not into rage, but into cold, diamond-hard clarity. "Get out," I told him. "Excuse me?" Vincent raised an eyebrow. "You're not my lawyer. Get out." After he left, I was released on bail paid by my brother Michael, the only family I had left. As we drove away from the jail, I told him everything. "They're trying to take everything from me, Mike. My home, my daughter, my name." My voice didn't shake. I was beyond that now. "But they made a crucial mistake." "What's that?" he asked. "They think I'll fight fair." I moved into Michael's spare bedroom and contacted Janet Chen, a razor-sharp family law attorney known for handling high-conflict divorce cases. When I laid out my suspicions, she didn't dismiss me as paranoid. Instead, she nodded thoughtfully. "False allegations happen more often than people realize," she said. "If what you're saying is true, we need evidence, concrete, irrefutable evidence." That night, I outlined my plan. I would need 3 things: time, technology, and the appearance of defeat. First, technology. Through my renovation side business, I had connections with a security specialist who owed me a favor. He provided me with state-of-the-art recording devices disguised as ordinary household objects: a wall clock, a smoke detector, a phone charger, even a picture frame with our family photo still inside. Second, time. I would need to be patient. The temporary restraining order allowed for supervised visits with Lily twice a week at the house, with a court-appointed observer present. These visits were my only gateway into the home. Third, the appearance of defeat. This was perhaps the most crucial element. Emma, Margaret, and Vincent needed to believe they had broken me, that I was too devastated to fight back effectively. "We'll file the basic counter-arguments," Janet advised, "but we won't show our full hand. Let them think you're scrambling, that you're emotionally compromised. Meanwhile, we gather evidence." The plan was set in motion. During my first supervised visit, I arrived with a bag of Lily's favorite books and toys, and hidden inside the first recording devices. While reading stories to my confused daughter, I discreetly placed the modified smoke detector in the hallway, replacing the existing one with practiced efficiency. The wall clock went up in the kitchen under the guise of a gift to help Lily learn to tell time. "That's thoughtful," the supervisor noted, none the wiser. Over the next 3 supervised visits, I strategically placed the remaining devices throughout the house: the phone charger in Emma's bedroom, the picture frame in the living room where Emma and Margaret had their most private conversations. And then, I waited. For 3 excruciating months, I lived a double life. To the court, I was the cooperative defendant, attending mandated anger management classes I didn't need, submitting to psychological evaluations that found no violent tendencies, and never missing a child support payment despite my decimated finances. To Emma, Margaret, and Vincent, I was the defeated ex, hollow-eyed during supervised visits, shoulders slumped in preliminary hearings, voice quiet when addressing the judge. I let my beard grow, lost weight, played the part of a man whose life had been destroyed. All the while, my devices recorded everything. Every night, I downloaded the encrypted data from the remote server where the recordings were stored. With each passing day, the evidence mounted, damning and irrefutable. Emma to Lily. Remember what we practiced, sweetheart? If the judge asks, you say Daddy scared you. Can you do that for Mommy? There's ice cream after if you're a good girl. Margaret, laughing over wine. You should see his pathetic apartment. My cleaning lady lives better than he does now. Once we're done, he'll be living out of his car. Vincent, reviewing strategy. The judge already believes he's guilty. Now we just need to ensure the financial settlement bleeds him dry. I've drafted a support agreement that'll take 70% of his income, legitimate on paper due to the trauma Lily's endured. The recordings captured it all. Their celebrations when the company fired me, their coaching of Lily before therapist appointments, their meticulous planning of false evidence. They even discussed which of my possessions they'd sell first once the house was legally Emma's. Most damning was a conversation 3 weeks before the final hearing. Emma. What if someone finds out we made everything up? Margaret. No one will believe him over a mother and child. Men like David are disposable. Your father learned that the hard way. Vincent. Besides, we've created a paper trail going back months. The photos, the therapist reports, the police calls. It's bulletproof. Janet and I compiled the recordings methodically, creating a clear timeline of their conspiracy. We transcribed key conversations and organized them alongside the original audio files. We documented timestamps and contexts. We prepared a presentation that was impossible to dispute. The week before the final custody hearing, I received an unexpected text from my former boss. Heard rumors about your situation. Not what it seems. Call me. He'd learned through industry contacts that Vincent had approached the company executives directly, threatening a publicity nightmare if they didn't terminate me. The company had complied but was now experiencing regret as similar allegations had surfaced in another case Vincent was handling. Another piece fell into place. The day of the hearing arrived. Emma entered the courtroom in a conservative blue dress, hair pulled back to showcase the fading bruise she'd refreshed with makeup. Margaret sat directly behind her, granite-faced and confident. Vincent strode in with 2 associate attorneys, nodding to the judge with familiar ease. I sat quietly beside Janet, dressed in a simple suit, eyes forward. For the first time in months, I felt no anxiety, no fear, only certainty. The hearing began with Vincent painting me as a monster hiding behind a respectable facade. Emma took the stand, tearfully describing fabricated incidents of abuse. Margaret testified about witnessing my volatile behavior. Their performance was flawless, polished by months of practice. When my turn came, Janet stood. Your Honor, before my client testifies, we'd like to submit new evidence that has just come to our attention. Vincent objected immediately. Any new evidence should have been disclosed during discovery, Your Honor. The judge, who had been looking at me with barely concealed contempt throughout the proceedings, frowned. Ms. Chen, explain yourself. Your Honor, this evidence directly pertains to witness credibility and possible perjury occurring in your courtroom today. We believe it's in the interest of justice to review it immediately. After brief deliberation, the judge allowed it. Janet connected her laptop to the courtroom's audio system. And then, Emma's voice filled the room. God, David is such an idiot. He actually thinks these visits with Lily are real. Mom, you should see his face when he has to leave. Pathetic. Margaret's response. Just stick to the plan, Emma. Once we have the house and the settlement, you can drop this devoted mother act. Has Lily memorized what to say to the judge? More recordings played. Vincent instructing Emma on how to create convincing bruises with makeup. Margaret coaching Lily to say she was afraid of me. Emma laughing about how easy it was to fool the court-appointed therapist. The color drained from Emma's face. Margaret gripped the bench until her knuckles turned white. Vincent frantically scribbled notes, whispering urgently to his associates. The judge's expression transformed from skepticism to shock, then to cold fury. "Turn it off," he finally ordered. The silence that followed was deafening. "Your Honor," Janet said calmly, "we have over 70 hours of similar recordings, all legally obtained during Mr. Reynolds's court-sanctioned visitations in his own home. We also have documentation proving that Ms. Reynolds, her mother, and Mr. Harlow conspired to file false police reports, fabricate evidence, and commit perjury for financial gain." The judge removed his glasses slowly. "Ms. Chen, approach the bench with opposing counsel. Now." What followed was a heated sidebar conversation that ended with Vincent returning to his seat, ashen-faced. The judge addressed the courtroom. "This hearing is suspended pending an investigation into possible criminal conduct by the plaintiff and her witnesses. Bailiff, please ensure that Ms. Reynolds, Mrs. Lawson, and Mr. Harlow remain in the building for questioning." He turned to me directly. "Mr. Reynolds, the temporary orders against you are hereby vacated. You may return to your home immediately." As court officers moved toward Emma, Margaret, and Vincent, I caught Emma's eye across the room. For a brief moment, I saw not the woman who had tried to destroy me, but the girl under the string lights at that wedding years ago. Then her face contorted with rage and fear, and she lunged toward me, screaming obscenities until the bailiff restrained her. I walked out of the courtroom a free man, the weight of months of calculated patience finally lifting from my shoulders. That was 14 months ago. The aftermath of that day in court unfolded like dominoes falling in perfect sequence. The judge didn't just dismiss the case, he referred it to the district attorney's office for criminal prosecution. Emma was charged with perjury, evidence tampering, and child endangerment. Margaret faced conspiracy charges. Vincent was brought before the State Bar Disciplinary Committee. My civil lawsuit for defamation, malicious prosecution, and intentional infliction of emotional distress proceeded swiftly. With the criminal charges pending, their attempts to defend themselves only dug deeper holes. Janet was merciless, deposing former friends of Emma's who admitted she had confided her plan to them, subpoenaing Margaret's financial records, showing large transfers to Vincent outside of normal legal fees, even locating Vincent's paralegal who had witnessed him coaching Emma on her testimony. The judgment came 6 months later. Full custody of Lily with no visitation rights for Emma until completion of extensive therapy and parenting classes, ownership of our home and all assets transferred solely to me, and a financial judgment against all 3 conspirators totaling $2.7 million in compensatory and punitive damages. Vincent was disbarred within weeks. The State Bar's investigation uncovered similar schemes with other clients, and former colleagues abandoned him overnight. Last I heard, he was working as a car salesman in Nevada, his reputation and career destroyed beyond recovery. Margaret was forced to sell her beloved colonial home, the symbol of her social status, to pay her share of the judgment. The country club membership she prized was revoked when other members learned of her actions. At 74, she now lives in a small apartment subsidized by senior housing benefits, avoided by the social circle she once ruled. Emma's fall was perhaps the most dramatic. After a brief jail stint for contempt of court, she found herself unemployable in our community. Court footage leaked online made her instantly recognizable, and her attempts to paint herself as the victim backfired spectacularly. She works at a gas station convenience store in a neighboring town, living in a studio apartment with water damage and roach problems. Twice she's attempted to contact Lily through fake social media accounts, resulting in further legal consequences. As for Lily and me, recovery has been a longer road. The court appointed a specialized trauma therapist who helped Lily understand how she had been manipulated. At first, she was confused and angry, asking often for her mother. Gradually, with patience and professional guidance, she began to recall how she had been coached to lie, how Emma and Margaret had frightened her with stories about me that weren't true. "They said if I didn't say those things, you wouldn't love me anymore," she told me one night, 6 months into therapy. "But that wasn't true. Was it, Daddy?" "No, sweetheart," I assured her, holding her close. "Nothing could ever make me stop loving you." My former employer reached out with a formal apology and job offer, which I declined. Instead, I expanded my renovation business, working hours that allowed me to be home when Lily returned from school. We have dinner together every night, and on weekends, we explore hiking trails or work on art projects. She's 10 now, excelling in school and showing a talent for science that makes me proudly wonder if she might become an engineer someday. Sometimes I catch myself thinking about Emma, not with hatred or even anger anymore, but with a sort of distant pity. Whatever drove her to such elaborate cruelty must be a kind of sickness. I've made peace with the fact that I'll never fully understand it. Last week, I ran into Margaret at the pharmacy. Age and hardship have bent her once proud posture, dulled the sharp eyes that used to cut me down. She looked away quickly, hurrying to another aisle. No sharp comments, no haughty glares. Just an old woman shuffling away from the consequences of her actions. They say the best revenge is living well. Perhaps that's true. But I've learned something else through this ordeal. Patience and precision are powerful weapons. They plotted my destruction for months, but I waited, watched, and gathered irrefutable evidence of their deceit. Their arrogance made them careless. Their cruelty made them vulnerable. Today, Lily and I planted a garden in our backyard. Tomatoes, cucumbers, and her favorite, strawberries. As we patted soil around tender seedlings, she looked up at me and smiled. "This is going to be great, Dad." I smiled back, savoring the simple joy of this moment and all the moments to come. They had tried to bury me, not knowing I was a seed. Now I'm flourishing in the light of truth while they wither in the shadow of their own making. 3 years later, the once proud, glamorous Emma Reynolds stared blankly at the flickering light bulb in her tiny, crumbling studio apartment. The wallpaper peeled like the layers of her former life. Her phone, long silent, sat cracked on the table. Friends, family, even distant acquaintances had blocked her. No one wanted to be associated with the woman who coached her own child to lie and tried to destroy an innocent man. Emma shuffled through eviction notices and debt collection letters piled high on the stained kitchen counter. The smell of mildew clung to her clothes. Every knock at the door sent her into a panic. Her once perfect hair was brittle, her skin hollowed by stress and depression. Her mother, Margaret, wasn't answering her calls. After losing her house and retirement funds to the lawsuit, Margaret now lived in a dingy assisted living facility, ignored by the very relatives she once lorded over. At night, Emma was tormented by the same viral courtroom videos that exposed her. Strangers still occasionally sent her cruel messages. "How's it feel to lose everything?" or "Monster Mother." The final blow came on a cold winter evening. Scrolling through social media under a fake account, Emma stumbled upon photos of David and Lily. David looked confident, happy, and strong, standing beside their beautiful, smiling daughter at her school play. The caption read, "Through storms and betrayal, love prevailed." Emma collapsed to the floor, sobbing uncontrollably. The realization hit her with brutal finality. David had not only survived her betrayal, he had thrived. She had lost not just her house, money, and reputation, but her child's love and the life she had tried to steal. For Emma and Margaret, the punishment was never-ending. Forgotten, destitute, humiliated, and broken, they lived each day trapped inside the prison of their own making, with no escape and no redemption. David, meanwhile, never once looked back. And so, we've reached the end of today's story. Was it what you expected, or did it take a twist you didn't see coming? I'm curious to hear your thoughts. Share them in the comments below, and let's get a conversation going. If this story kept you hooked, make sure to hit that like button. And if you're new here or just haven't subscribed yet, now's the perfect time to join our community. I bring you fresh, captivating stories every day, so click that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss out. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.